What is happening, Magnusites? Now, I wanted to touch on a few other things that I didn't cover yesterday with my gaming history video. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, it's on my gaming channel and my main channel. And this one will be on both channels also. So let me continue and go back and talk about a couple of the things that I actually forgot to mention, but I kind of experienced just a little bit. So back, I believe after the Genesis came out, Sega brought out the 32X before they brought out the Saturn. And I think that was like you added it to the Genesis. Okay. And I had a buddy whose brother bought that, and I wasn't too impressed by it. I think one of his first games was Panzer Dragoon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember kind of liking that, kind of being a little amazed by that, being like, oh, it's kind of cool, but never being fully interested in the 32X. Also back with, I believe, the Genesis and Super Nintendo was TurboGrafx-16. The same family also had TurboGrafx-16 and told me Bonk was pretty cool. I remember the Bonk commercials, but I never actually had a chance to play it. If you had big money, and nobody I knew had enough money to buy this, but the NeoGeo system. The NeoGeo system, I believe, was made by a couple of different companies. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there were a couple of different systems for it, but basically you were buying the true arcade console, true machinery. Like the joysticks were big. It was almost like they cut it out of the arcade machine. The system was big. I remember seeing pictures of it, and their cartridges were like this big or something. Like, they were big. They're like 3-4 times the size of like a Nintendo 64 cartridge or whatever, something like that. I remember that. And I was in love with Samurai Showdown back then, because remember, I was really big into fighting games back then. So of course, I never had a chance to play NeoGeo unless it was in an arcade. But I definitely remember NeoGeo. I loved the whole zooming effect that Samurai Showdown had. And, that was the only game I've ever played for NeoGeo. Xbox. When Xbox came out, I saw that as an experimental system. And I didn't truly trust Microsoft. So I was like, you know what? Let me hold off. Let me see what's going on. But it was their answer to the PlayStation, I believe. So since I was already in love with the PlayStation, I saw no need to buy it. Then, of course, a Xbox 360 came out. That was what their answer to the PlayStation 2, right? Or no, it was PlayStation 3. Wait a minute. Xbox 360. Wait, was the Xbox the answer to the PlayStation 2? And then the 360 was the answer to PlayStation 3, right? Yeah. But anyway, never, ever bought an Xbox. Okay? Which I assume was... I can't remember, man. So anyway, my first Xbox was the Xbox 360. Which I ended up getting the Ring of Death in. Hated that. Really hated that. Another thing, like, remember when I told you I only bought, like, Ninja Gaiden 2? I remember I was with this chick back then, and I got her hooked on playing it. And I told y'all I was losing interest in gaming around that time. So I actually stopped playing Ninja Gaiden 2, if you can believe it. She kept playing. And she would always call me when she needed me to beat a boss. Because she could get through the levels, but she couldn't beat the boss. So I would jump on. She was like, babe, can you... Alright. So I would beat the boss for her, and she would keep on playing. And I guess you could say, collectively beat the game together. because I lost interest halfway through. Like, that's how much I just didn't care for gaming at the time. Now, many of you said that I forgot to mention Nintendo 64, which was a big part of a lot of your childhoods. Let me explain to you my whole relationship with Nintendo and how I feel about them up until now. Okay? Like I said, I was a Nintendo head, Nintendo fanboy. NES came out, got it, loved it, addicted. Super Nintendo came out, got it, addicted, loved it. In between that, remember a movie called The Wizard with Fred Savage in it? I went to see that with bells on. Loved that movie. I remember thinking in the trailer, Fred Savage says, "You got 50,000 on Double Dragon?" I was like, 50,000? That's nothing. I don't understand why this kid is considered a wizard. But he was a wizard in the movie because he was good at anything he played literally for the first time. Like, he was that good. And they unveiled Super Mario Brothers 3 in that movie, which was like, yeah! I remember being in the movie and saying, like, yeah, man! Yo, man, so when CD technology started to come out, we started to really see what game systems could do with CD technology. I was a huge, huge fan of cinematics. And I still am till this day. I am a huge fan of cinematics. And cinematics are huge trailers because they really show what a game system can do a lot of times. I know sometimes it's not in-game footage, or I know, but a lot of times it really shows what a game system can do. I fell in love with cinematics backed with Ninja Gaiden when it came out from Tecmo for the NES. Oh man, that was a milestone for me in gaming history. It really was. Loved it. Nothing like the arcade, which I actually liked too. I ended up seeing the arcade version later. But anyway, so at the time, I remember being absolutely in love with Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct. Ultra Combo! And I remember I knew enough about gaming that I remember in the arcade, there were certain cinematics they would have. You know, when you would pick a character and would show, you know, and when they would win and stuff like that. That was like, they won't be able to do that with a cartridge. They won't be able to do that with a cartridge. So they're going to need a CD-based system to be able to do stuff like that. And I was in love with Killer Instinct. In love with Killer Instinct. So when I started to hear about the Nintendo 64, I was like, okay, cool. It's going to be CD-based. We're going to do this. I'm a Nintendo head to the day I die. Well, they decided they wanted to go cartridge-based, and I was like, you're fucking nuts. Are you guys retarded? What are y'all doing? What are you doing? They come out with it. I played Mario 64. I liked that game. I actually ended up beating that, I think. At my boy's house, though. I played it at my boy's house. I never bought one. Played that GoldenEye or whatever with him a couple times. We really had fun doing that little hide and seek, blowing each other up with the bazooka and stuff like that. But that was it. He also had Killer Instinct 2, which we had fun playing. But I was never in love with that game. And I was still pissed off that they didn't have the cinematics and all this other stuff that they should have had that is part of gaming now. That, like, you know, stuff like the PlayStation and all, you know, I was just like, totally blew my mind that they went cartridge based. And so then I hear about the whole, you know, the GameCube. Oh, they're finally using discs. Now they want to use these little crepes sized discs. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, what the Nintendo, you just want to be the people just doing their own thing. Is that what it is? You can do your own thing and still be the best. You know what I mean? Don't deviate too far. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so, like I said, I only bought one game for that. Then after that, I totally, lost my love of gaming. And as other things came out, I still got them. Like I still got a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, because there were certain games I wanted to play, but it would always be one or two, and I never would keep up with gaming. I never ever bought any more Nintendo product. No Wii, no Wii U. And by the way, I've never ever been interested in portables. Ever. Ever. Till this day. I'm still not interested in them. I don't care what the Nintendo Switch can do. I care nothing about the portability of it. To me, it was just always like a knockoff of what you could do at home. And I never needed to play games on the go. I never felt like I needed to play games on the go. I never did. And nowadays, just simple games I can play on my phone if I feel like it. You know what I mean? And I never play games mobily. I don't. I'm not a mobile gamer, so it means nothing to me. Game Boy was always trash to me, and everything else. I thought it was cool. I think Sega had the first color thing, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I never wanted one. Never. Okay? So, after all of that, I get on YouTube. I'm becoming a popular YouTuber. I'm doing my thing, and I'm starting to want to get into gaming. And then I see a guy named Angry Joe. And Angry Joe did a review, and he was talking about how Nintendo claims like everything. All game footage. You can't do nothing. I've quickly found that out when I would react to their trailers for their games. And I was like, no company does this. Like, what are you talking? This is free publicity, and it's well within fair use. You know what I mean? We're talking about it, we're commentating, we're giving a review of the game footage and what we think and all this stuff. Like, what are you doing, Nintendo? And I was like, when I found out that you couldn't live stream nothing, I was like, are you serious? I was like, what kind of company is this? Like, you don't support your fans? Like, what? Like, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. And you're going to claim all that stuff and give strikes out to people too? And or give strikes out? Like, what are you talking about? This is promoting your company. It's promoting your gameplay. If anything, it helps your company. You're going to sell more games. It's going to get more coverage. That's why they call YouTubers and, now you got, Instagrammers and Twitchers, whatever you want to call them, influencers, because we do influence. You know what I mean? That's why reactions have become so big, because even big budget companies have, Marvel, Target. Let me talk about the ones that approached me. Target, Marvel. Marvel did it for, I think, a couple of reactions that I did. Star Wars and Target. They wanted to put me in a commercial. Warner Brothers has several times to put my clips in commercials. I'm trying to think of who else. Certain gaming companies have used me too. So I've been approached by like 4 or 5, maybe even 6. I'm trying to think because it's been years, but I never have an issue with it. I'm like, go ahead, guys, use the clip. Go ahead. So it's big business, and people who, because I know as a creator that we inspire people to buy stuff when they weren't sure. You know what I mean? Because over the years, every week I've got some company that wants me to react to a video of theirs, a short film or a commercial or something they want me to react to, trailers, I get it all the time. As a matter of fact, it's overwhelming. So I know how influential we are, and I'm just like, Nintendo, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. What the YouTubers and Twitchers or whatever make off of streaming your games is peanuts. Plus, you make more money than you would have if we weren't streaming it. So that after them fucking up with the Nintendo 64, me not being interested in the Wii or the Wii U or the Switch, I was just like, you know what? I'll probably never play a Nintendo game in my life again. That's just my personal view. I just don't like how they were stuttering around from the Nintendo 64 on. How I wasn't interested in none of this stuff. And then I was like, you're doing that to creators that actually love your product. I mean, people that are Nintendo fanboys for life, that wouldn't even leave you when you were cutting their legs off from underneath them, when they streaming the game promoting you. Like, I was just like, you know what? No. And the bad taste is still in my mouth, and that's why, no, I'm not buying a Nintendo Switch. I'm not streaming nothing. I don't care. Because just because you decide, oh, after all these years of people like, what the hell's wrong with you? Oh, now you want to change your mind? No. You know what I mean? Let me give you another analogy or metaphor, whatever you call it. I had a girlfriend whose mom treated me like shit. Even though I treated her daughter well, she treated me like shit. She thought she knew better than her daughter. And it's like it was a certain amount of years that she treated me like shit. And I remember there was this point where her mom decided to have this change of heart. You know what? I haven't been acting like a true Christian. I'm going to start treating him better. I'm sorry. She actually cried to her. No. So now I'm coming over to the house and she's treating me like gold. And I'm like, after 6 years of you treating me like this, you expect me to have open arms? Like, hey, let's bygones be bygones? No. It is not called keeping a grudge. You left a bad taste in my mouth for treating me bad for 6 damn years. You get what I'm saying? And that's how I feel with Nintendo. I haven't liked none of their stuff from Nintendo 64 on. I haven't cared about none of that product. I don't care about the Switch, none of this stuff. So that's just my personal view. You know what I mean? They're a giant and they continue to make billions of dollars. They'll be fine. They don't need me or nothing like that, and I don't need them. They're fine, It's kind of like, when like a subscriber's mad at me for something, although I don't ever do anything on the scale of what. I just piss people off with something I say sometimes, you know what I mean? When a subscriber says I'm never watching your videos again, I'm kind of like, okay, you know what I mean. But with them, they're not going to care that I'm not going to buy their game or stream it. But they left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm done. I don't think anything they could do could get me back gaming their games. I haven't played Mario since Mario 64, and I'm fine. And I was a Mario head. If anything, Mario games are the best thing on the planet. You could always go back to them. You know what I mean? They're like that safe haven. No matter what other series came out that might have sucked or stumbled with their games in their series, Mario was always a hit. Always. Now I don't care. At all. So, now you guys know. Alright? I'm going to get ready to hit the gym. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all thought. Is there anything you think I missed? Or whatever? You can post that too. But most likely, I think I've mentioned everything that I wanted to mention. And, if I didn't mention it, it's because I never played the game, or I didn't give a damn about whatever it is that you think that I missed. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't mention it. Post comments down below. Let me know what you all think. And if you enjoyed my video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers! Woo!